Chapter 6 Clorinda, 1869 "It's snowing!" cried Randy, one Saturday morning from her roost in the cupola. She had gone up there with a book of fathers called Jean Christophe, which she didn't understand. "Real snow!" she shouted exultantly, forgetting all about the strange boy in the book and tumbling down the steps to the office. "First I thought it was just ashes from the chimney, but I watched, and it melted right on the windowsill." Rush stopped playing the piano. Mona stopped writing her play. Oliver stopped trying to draw a battle between 14 airplanes and 13 submarines, all on the same sheet of paper. With one accord, they went downstairs, put on their coats and, as an afterthought, their galoshes, and went outdoors. None of them had ever seen snow in the country. At first, it wasn't very exciting, really. The sparse, papery flakes flew down, alighted, and vanished without making any difference on the landscape. But Oliver made a discovery. "Look," he said, examining the snowflakes on his sleeve. "They're shaped like little sort of fuzzy stars." "Oh, everybody knew that." "Didn't you really ever notice it before, Oliver?" Randy sounded astonished. Nevertheless, she ran into the house and borrowed one of the lenses from Rush's microscope, and she and Oliver took turns peering through it at the snow crystals. How wonderful they were! So tiny, so perfect, down to the last point, the last feathering of frost. There were little stars, and miniature geometrical ferns and flowers, and patterns for fairy crowns, and tiny hexagons of lace. And each was different from all the others. "How can they ever think of so many patterns?" wondered Randy, relinquishing the lens to Oliver. "How can who ever think of them?" said Oliver, breathing so hard on the flake he was examining that it turned into a drop of water. "God, I suppose," Randy answered, catching some snow on the tip of her tongue and eating it. "Does he draw them first, or does he just go ahead and cut them out and drop them?" Oliver wanted to know. But that was too much for Randy. Snowflakes were a mystery altogether. "Come on," she said. "Let's go up through the woods to the top of the hill and see how it looks from up there." By lunchtime, the valley was lightly coated, like a cake with confectioner's sugar. And by 3:30, the snow was of a respectable depth, halfway to the tops of their galoshes. There was white fur on the antlers of the iron deer and on the melancholy boughs of the Norway spruce. They cleared the front drive with Willie, built a snowman for Oliver, and a fort for all of them. "But gee, if we only had a sled," Rush said finally. Oliver stopped digging, leaned thoughtfully on his spade, and in a moment or two drifted inconspicuously toward the house. Scrape, scrape, went Willie's industrious shovel. The millions of little white stars twinkled down and down and down, an endless supply. Mona bent over and wrote her name, big, on the snow with the point of her mitten. Mona Melendi. Then she stood off and looked at it. It was the kind of name that would look well in lights when she was famous. "Oh, yes, of course, Mona Melendi. Isn't she wonderful? The most perfect Juliet I ever—" "Ow, Rush, you devil!" yelped Mona furiously, as a wet, generous handful of snow down her back brought the glorious daydream to a close. The fight was on. Half in earnest, half in fun, they pelted each other, rolled on the ground, got soaking wet. Rush was strong, but Mona was bigger. She got him down finally and was sitting firmly on his chest, combing her disheveled hair, when she saw Oliver returning. "Why, look what he's got!" she exclaimed, rising suddenly and liberating her victim. "Sleds, gee whiz!" murmured Rush in awe. They were sort of funny, shabby old things with high, rusted runners and names painted on them in fancy letters. Snow Demon, one was called. Little Kris Kringle was the other. Yes, they were strange, but never mind. They were sleds. "Where'd you ever get them, Fatso?" inquired Rush. "Me? Oh, I just found them," replied Oliver vaguely. "But where?" "Oh, just around." "What do you mean, around?" I never saw any sleds lying around the four-story mistake. Come on, Oliver, give us the dope like a good guy." "I can't," said Oliver firmly. "It's a secret." Randy couldn't resist boasting a little. "I know where he got them," she crowed, "but I promised not to tell." And she and Oliver exchanged a wink of the greatest satisfaction and goodwill.